Good evening, Facebook Live. Apostle Terrence Lyons of Ecclesia Ministries here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Coming to you again on the night, bringing you tonight's Bible study. Pray that you've had a blessed week. Pray that everything is going well for you, everyone. Get everything locked down here and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Starting out a new month, like 2 ways. Like today's the 30th of June. Yes, technically, but it's the 1st of Tammuz, and then of course the 1st of July will be happening tomorrow. So we definitely want to have everybody in place there and knowing what time it is. So good evening there, Prophetess Tanisha. Good evening, my man Leo. Good evening there, sis. Thankful again to get things stirring. Good evening to those that's on that may not be responding. Good evening there, Overseer Melissa. So we're getting ready to stir up some stuff tonight for sure. Good evening there, Cousin Michelle. Good evening there, Mr. Clarence and Miss Linda. But tonight we definitely gonna stir up something big, because sure you see the question. My brother Michael, what's going on, Minister Michael? Good to see you. Apostle Laura. So we finna stir up some stuff tonight for sure. So is your past cursing you out? Is your past cursing you out? Is gonna definitely make a huge difference by the time that we're done tonight. I'm gonna be challenging you real heavy tonight because there are a lot of things that have been hindering you from going forward that you didn't even know, and nobody's doing this intentionally. But this is why I gotta help point out stuff, and there's things that have been activating a curse in your life, and you didn't even know it. It's because it's not a bad thing, and it'll make sense when I start teaching you and showing you, because everything is gonna make a huge difference after today. Of course, everybody knows, if you've been around Ecclesia any amount of time, I've told you that the number 4 is the number of direction change. North, south, east, and west is the number of seasons. Fall, winter, spring, summer. So that number 4 is always an indicator that some things are about to shift. And I promise by the time we're done tonight, you're going to have some things shift mentally. You're going to be ready for what's in front of you. You're going to be ready for everything that might come at you. You're going to be ready from every angle. So might as well go on and get this party started. Let me get me a sip early because I'm going to hit the ground running. So I want you to go to the book. Let's see. Let's go to the book of Romans. Chapter 14, verses 12 through 23. This is one of the passages that I had you to look at from our Sabbath message, and gonna dig in deep here in this passage, because there's some things that I want to make sure that you get by the time that we're done. So Romans chapter 14, we're going to look at verses 12 through 23. Romans chapter 14, verses 12 through 23, it says this. It says, so then every one of us shall give account of himself to God. I'll read that again. So then every one of us shall give account of himself to God. Let us not therefore judge one another anymore. Now, I'm hoping y'all seeing how this is worded. Let us not therefore judge one another anymore, but judge this rather, that no man put a stumbling block or an occasion to fall in his brother's way. I know and am persuaded by the Lord Jesus that there is nothing unclean of itself, but to him that esteemeth anything to be unclean, to him it is unclean. But if thy brother be grieved with thy meat, now walkest thou not charitably. Destroy not him with thy meat, for whom Christ died. Let not then your good be evil spoken of. For the kingdom of God is not meat and drink, but righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost. For he that in these things serveth Christ is acceptable to God and approved of men. Let us therefore follow after the things which make for peace, and things wherewith one may edify another. For meat destroy not the work of God. All things indeed are pure, but it is evil for that man who eateth with offense. It is good neither to eat flesh nor to drink wine. Watch this. Nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth or is offended or is made weak. Hast thou faith? Have it to thyself before God. Happy is he that condemneth not himself in that which he alloweth. And that's very huge right there in verse 23. And he that doubteth is damned if he eat, because he eateth not of faith. For whatsoever is not of faith is sin. Okay, so first point that I want you to have in mind and pay attention to with this one is past had purpose for when it was and for where you presently are. Past had purpose for when it was and for where you presently are. You say, hold up. Apostle, what you doing? Why you messing with me? What you mean by this? And how did you get that from this? Okay, so in verse 23, when it says, for whatsoever is not of faith is sin. So whenever you encounter somebody who has an opposing opinion of you, y'all didn't make up your opinions right when you met. You had those prior. You had already made a decision for what you believe and how you believe before you came into contact with whoever you came into contact that was thinking something different than what you're thinking. Okay, hopefully I laid that out simple enough for you to where you see you had thoughts about things before you came into contact with people that had opposing opinions about what you think. Okay, so they had theirs before they came to you. You had yours before you came to them. Now, your past, that's when you made a decision. You made a decision about some things in your past before you got to where you are now. Now, all of that's being challenged, and everybody who's on here can attest, all of that's being challenged right now. And I mean right now. And yes, I'm saying that on purpose like that. Right now. Because right now, everybody's got something that they're having to look at in a completely different way than they used to look at it. And you found yourself at a choice, watch this, about your faith. You found yourself at a choice about what you believe. So for everybody that's got something going on that is challenging you in your faith right now and challenging you to rethink a different way, I just need you to type one or more question marks in the chat there. Just if you got something that you're having to look at, health, relationships, finances, what you want to do for your career, family, just the whole 9 yards. If it's something that's got you to where you're having to rethink some things, you having to take another look at it, just put me a question mark or two in there. I just want to make sure that I'm talking to the right people tonight. So, just want to make sure that I'm talking to the right group, making sure that we on the right track, because I want to make sure that as you are looking at the new things, clearly look like some of y'all got quite a few things, but I want you to get this, because again, your past had purpose for when it was. So when it happened, when it did, in the time that it did, whatever it was, whatever you're questioning now, when it happened, when it did, that helped you to begin to establish a belief and a faith in God that had a purpose for then. But I want you to get this. It also had a purpose for where you presently are right now. Because he needed you to get to the level that you did then so that you could be ready for where you are now to handle the question that you have now. Because if you hadn't got to the level that you needed to then, you wouldn't even be able to manage the question that you're facing now. Okay, so I want to make sure that you're not struggling within yourself about having a question now, because questions are normal. So somebody type that in for me. Questions are normal, because this is the only way, watch this, this is the only way you're going to find out if your past is cursing you out or not. If you're not having some questions about what you're facing right now, in all likelihood, your past has got you so cursed out right now that you can't even see the good that's in front of you. Because there's a level that God's trying to take us to. There's a level that God is trying to establish in us that it's got you questioning some stuff like you've never questioned it before. Let me put my feet up and arms up, hands up, everything. Got me questioning some stuff like I have never questioned it before, because I know that he is building things to another level for me, for those that are connected to me, for those that, are in certain situations. I know that he is advancing all of that for everybody that's connected to me. So the key is understanding it's not wrong for you to question where you're at, because, watch this, when he's trying to take you to another level, the present that you're in, watch this, it's going to soon be in your past too. But all I'm trying to make sure for you is that it don't curse you out, that it doesn't cause you to be cursing yourself because of what you're thinking about your past. All right, I don't want to take too much time there, because I got some stuff I need for you to see. So I want you, the next passage, I want you to go to the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verses 1 through 12. Numbers chapter 20, verses 1 through 12, because I want you to see something, because this next statement is going to be very controversial from the standpoint of how the world thinks and how a lot of us have been programmed. So I'm going to show you something, because it is difficult, and I'm going to say this to help you understand. It's not a problem, okay? It's difficult for me to think about my past, because I understand what God wants me to do concerning my past and embracing my future. And it's going to make a whole lot of sense by the time I'm done, but I want you to understand that for me, because I've done this for so many years, because I understood Philippians 3:13, which is what we're going to be looking at later, but because I understand how that works and how effective it is, and knowing how our brains are designed to actually work to our advantage, when I learned how to do this, I don't think a lot about my past because I pour so much into my present. See, when you start learning how to be present and fully present, you're not even going to have to worry about thinking about your past because you're going to know that you gave everything to each moment you were in. Let me go on and read this. Let me go on and read this so that I can show y'all something. Numbers chapter 20. Watch this. Verses 1 through 12 says this. Numbers chapter 20, verses 1 through 12. It says, Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin in the first month, that the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. Now watch this. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and Aaron. And the people chode with Moses and spake, saying, Would God that we had died when our brethren died before the Lord. And why have you brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there? And wherefore have you made us to come up out of Egypt, to bring us in unto this evil place? It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink. And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the rod, and gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. And it shall give forth his water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock, so thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. So he's following instructions. He's taking this rod. This rod has done a lot of things. It has played a part in a lot of things for Moses. It's played a part in parting the Red Sea. It's played a part in bringing water before this point right here. And I'm going to show you that a little bit later, but I need for you to see this way now, because I want you to understand something. The fact that he says Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock in verse 10 and said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice. And the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beast also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, Because you believed me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. So, here's the issue that comes out of this. So I want to give you the second point. Our second point for tonight is this. Don't let past success be the cause of a present curse. Don't let past success be the cause of a present curse. You say, whoa, apostle, whoa, mule. Whoa, what you talking about? See, the issue is what Moses does here is he's so focused in on his last success that he feels like he can begin to alter some instructions he was given. He was told to take that rod with him, but he was told to speak to the rock. That's what God gives him clearly. And that's what God gives him clearly to do. He says, okay, now I want you to take this rod with you, because you've had the rod with you in all of these past instances and all these situations. But the key is, I need for you to do something different, even though you're gonna have it with you. So I got to make sure that you don't let your past success be the cause of your present curse. So you're gonna take the rod with you, but I need for you to speak to the rock this time. There's a rock and a rod involved, both instances. I'm gonna show you this when we go back in a little later for when I give you one of the other points. But again, I needed to start here because I wanted you to see it wasn't that he didn't know the instructions. It wasn't that it wasn't clear of what he was supposed to do. It was that he began thinking that he could deviate because, watch this, y'all know I'm real and y'all know I'm straightforward. But because he was pissed with the people, he starts to revert back to a previous success that he thinks is going to work in a present moment. Because again, it wasn't that him striking the rock was a bad instance before. It was actually success. But the success of that previous moment doesn't automatically mean that it's going to bring success in your present moment. All right, let's dig a little more because I want you to see this. So if you look back at verse 9, it says Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him. So he's following the instructions. He's doing exactly what he's been told to do in this instance. So watch this. Because he then goes and says, and Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, hear now, ye rebels. So he ticked. He still heated. Y'all rebelling against this. Y'all doing this. You're like, yeah, y'all doing that. And now I am too, because the Lord told me to do this, but y'all, I'm ticked, and I'm finna not follow instructions. But this is what I need you to get because of this right here. In verse 10, it says, Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? So Moses is using words. And the instructions was that he was going to use words. Because if you go back to verse 8, he says, take the rod, gather the assembly together. So he's got the rod. He's gathered the assembly together. Aaron, our brother, so Aaron's with him. Speak ye unto the rock before their eyes. So the people are supposed to be there, and Moses is supposed to be talking, but that needs to be directed to the rock, not to the people. See, some of y'all have been talking to the wrong thing. You talking, but you're talking to the wrong thing. Type in there for me, don't talk to the wrong thing. See, that's why you got to be fully present. That's why it's important to be fully present, because if you start talking to the wrong thing, you're going to get the wrong results. And the issue is your past is going to start cursing you out only because of success, not because it's bad, not because you're bad, not because the situation's bad, but all because of past success. You talking to the wrong thing. Because you're still relying on the results that you got the last time. Because watch this, because you've got the same components from the last time. There's another rock, there's complaining people, I've got the rod, I've got me and my leaders. So all of those components are the same. But all God's saying is, okay, I need you to switch it up a little bit so that they won't get caught up in the system used instead of, watch this, instead of the salvation that I want to render in the moment. I want to show them they can be saved with this rod, and I want to show them that they can be saved with their words. But I need for you to be this example in front of them. Ooh-wee. Let me go on to another point, because two of these points I got to take a little more time than normal. So watch this. So now I want you to go to Exodus 17. Exodus chapter 17. verses 1 through 6, because I want to, I love y'all, but this one probably finna hurt when I give y'all the point to this one. Exodus chapter 17, verses 1 through 6 says this. See, some of y'all done got in certain relationships, and you trying to treat this relationship like you did the last one. Some of y'all done got in business, and you started a new business. You're at a different company. You're in a different state. You're doing all of those things, but you're still using the mindset of your past success to try to have present success. And it's not going to work. Okay? So this is what I want you to get. So in the book of Exodus, chapter 17, verses 1 through 6, it says this. It says, and watch this, and all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Now I'm gonna tell you this while I'm reading this, because I want you to be prepared. We're gonna go back to look at something in the book of Romans here in just a minute, because I need for you to see this in contrast with everything else, and it'll all make sense. So, and all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin after their journeys according to the commandment of the Lord, and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses, and said, Give us water that we may drink. And Moses said unto them, Why chide ye with me? Wherefore do ye tempt the Lord? And the people thirsted there for water, and the people murmured against Moses, and said, Wherefore is this that thou hast brought us up out of Egypt to kill us and our children and our cattle with thirst? And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, What shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go on before the people, and take with thee the elders of Israel, and thy rod, wherewith thou smotest the river, in thine hand, and go. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. So again, here's where we are. This is us being able to get to a place and see that Moses has success striking the rock. He was actually given the instruction to strike the rock the first time. He's told to take the rod, strike the rock. Hey, I'm going to bring forth water